Hi, I'm Stanley. We are a biosensor company, so our sensors get embedded into VR, AR, among many other devices. And today I'll show, beyond the VR, AR, a few other devices as well. However, the topic today is really how to remotely monitor your vital signs or your health, digital health, in other words, and how to reduce that cost. Speaking of cost, I just pulled some data off the internet. I'm sorry, maybe there's a little error there in display, but anyway, the idea here is the cost is rising. And in fact, on the right side, you can see that workplace stress and sickness. The reason why I put this up is we in the past 2 years, we work with one of the major banks in the world. And they started out using our brainwave sensors to incorporate that into an AR gameplay that they provide their employees. And at any given time, instead of taking breaks, they told their employees at any given time, if they feel stressed, they can play that game. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes. And they outfit it at everybody's desk. What they found out, they started out with 50,000 people. What they found out was that within the 6-month period they were trying, they were actually able to reduce on average up to 50% errors that people were making during the day, compared to the same 50,000 people 6 months before, prior, and compared to the rest of the employee base. So they proliferated to the rest of 200,000 people, and they found out overall their error making, the mistakes that this bank company makes, had drastically reduced. And perhaps that was due to work stress, and most people are more energetic after they were allowed to do something like that. So not only just remote monitoring your health, sometimes if you do the right thing, do the a little bit of a gameplay to relax people, you actually get a lot higher productivities. So again, we're not a company that's responsible for everything. In fact, we're a very small piece of the puzzle. We are responsible for the sensors and the software that go along with it. In fact, we oftentimes have to collaborate with device builders such as VR, AR builders. And also, if you're interested, later after my speech, we do have this little device that has 6-in-1 features. All you have to do is just hold this, and you can get a lot of vital signs out of that. But we built the software and the electronics inside. So where we fit in here is really we provide that technology layer and the analytics layers between the hospital, or as a matter of fact, sometimes employer or whoever you want to put in that circle, and the patient or the employee or whoever that you want to monitor, and we just provide that analytics on top of that. So I will give you some examples. So for example, our sensors are used oftentimes in both EEG side and ECG side, which means the brainwave side or the cardio side. Now, virtual reality headsets or AR headsets are a natural device for embedding our sensors around. So when you wear them, you actually don't even know the sensors are there. There are a few of them coming out. We're working with a few major providers, and a few of them are coming out. However, you may or may not know they're there. They're just there sensing your brainwave, sensing your response. And I'm going to give you an example of that later on in the example slide. But they're being built into quite a few different things, from sleeping devices to virtual reality to even gaming. We got designed into the Star Wars Force Trainer, for example, that came out last year. And then on the wearable device, of course, they're all over the place. And they can all interact with each other, actually. So some of our customers actually try to integrate wearables along with the virtual reality headsets and outfit you with a smart clothing that actually tracks your movement with the microfiber sensors. So let me give you a few application examples. This particular one I just talked about. Now, it has nothing to do with virtual reality in this device, but in the grand schemes of things, it does. What this device does is not going to be deployed here in this country, but in a European country and an Asian country we're talking to. This is a device where you use at home, and you actually go through internet, maybe through an AR or a VR headset to talk to your doctor. They track your vital sign. There's 6 different things you can track there, from your blood pressure to your bunch of ECG measurements to even as simple as body temperature. When you are having a virtual reality session or AR session with your doctor or with, actually, they're aiming long-term for an AI doctor, so you're not actually talking to a real person. This AI needs to know your vital signs, so these things need to go up there and provide your information so the AI or the doctor actually understands what you're talking about. Let me give you an example. Not on this device, but on one of our headsets. It's being used by doctors now to measure the pain level. So how many people here things, when people ask you, how painful is this? From 0 to 10, you actually know what that is. For me, if it's very painful, I just say 10. If it's not so much, I just say kind of 1 or 2. It's never really in between for me, personally. So, but there is a scale. Why is that important? Because the sensor, if they give you a scale, then you will know how much medicine or how much pain medicine you can take. The dosage can vary depending on the level of your pain. So biosensor is really important, playing a role in that remote monitoring. It doesn't matter if you're using VR, AR, any type of system, or even just a simple interaction with the doctor. Now let me give you this next one, which is very interesting. This is obviously a 3D screen. Now everybody knows 3D image is not really a 3D image. It just appears in our head that it's 3D, right? It's just a shuttering speed between the 2 eyes. So the person who invented the 3D technology, who later sold it to Olympus, and then about 20 years ago, and we've been having these 3D movies or screens. That person in the past 8 years have been trying to study and investigate the relationship between 3D image and your brain health. Because if you can form a healthy 3D image, obviously you have a pretty good brain. What does that have to do with VR? Well, he created a game, and this was trialed and is going through FDA at the Tokyo University Hospital. He created a game, virtual reality game, 3D, or on a 3D screen. When you play this game, it'll actually determine, based on your reaction, your biofeedback, and your reaction to the game. It takes about 15 minutes. It'll determine if you have the very early stages of the Alzheimer's or dementia. And why is that important? It's important because, number one, if you detect it early, you can try to do something about it and maybe slow down the progression. Number two, it's very difficult for any of us sitting here going, I wonder if I have early stages of dementia, so I'm going to go to the hospital and do a brain scan, fMRI scan or something. That's going to be very costly, and most doctors won't recommend that. If you have a very simple game like this and you can communicate with your doctor on the computer with it, you can sit at home with basically less than $200, and you can share it with your friends. Detect whether you have this kind of problem or not. Now, why does that save cost? Imagine this. If you were 65 and you start having this problem and you didn't know about it, maybe by 70, 75, you are in kind of a state of you needing a lot of help. What if you live till 85? You'll have 10 years that your family and the system will have to pay dearly and spend a lot of time taking care of you. But if you found out you had this problem at 65 and you took care of it, and you can pretty much delay or slow down the progression, and you live till you're 85, and you still have 20 years of productive life. That's the difference. And the technology here can make that difference for us. So I'm really looking forward to have this particular application coming onto the market. It's going through trials right now. Amazingly, we have 240 people trial from people who have the problem, compare against a bunch of different age groups from 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Amazingly, most people don't show the deterioration if you're healthy until you're 80-something. So amazingly, if you're a 20-year-old compared to your 70-year-old, if you're healthy, the brain patterns, the reaction to the 3D image actually are identical. So those are the examples that I want to show today, how technology, whether they're VR, AR, or not, can help reduce the healthcare costs as well as help people improve their lives. So I have 2 minutes. I'll take some questions. Yes, ma'am.
Why is it not in the United States? Why is it not passed the FDA in the United States?
Okay, so you mean the last one, right? The inventor is a Japanese, so they started doing their own FDA equivalent in Japan. Oh, okay, this particular device. It's because, so you see this has a screen and it has 6 different, in fact I'll turn it on and I'll demo it later if you guys are interested. It has 6 different features. Each feature has to go through an FDA process. So we have to go through that first before we can deploy in the US. Versus in a country such as UK, we're working with NHS right now directly. They can go a little faster. And in China, in certain province, it goes a lot faster. It's really not because we don't want to, it's because of the regulatory issues. Yes, sir.
Can you explain a little further why that 3D image helps to detect or treat Alzheimer's disease?
Okay, so I think there's a huge long paper they publish about that, but I think it's best if you just send me an email. I'll link you to that page instead of me explaining the technicality of that. But in general, it's really, if your brain is healthy, in a very healthy state, basically you can form the 3D image in the way it's intended to when you see the screen. Yes?
Can you conceivably create a game that could keep your brain healthy by that kind of exercise?
Yeah, okay. There's a long way of answering, short way. I'll answer a very short way. The short answer is yes, but there's a theoretical reason for that. There are 2 types of Alzheimer's. One is when you have these deposits in between in your brain, the calcium deposits. Those are hard to get rid of once you have it. The other one is when you don't exercise your brain as often as you should, the electrodes of the neurons kind of pull apart a little bit. When you do your exercise, they actually come back. So you can do that. So there are a few ways you can help with this condition. Okay, thank you very much.